Alrighty, good evening. Welcome everyone. We are grateful to have this 2020 Gila County Sheriff Candidate Forum tonight. This event is hosted by the Globe Miami Regional Chamber of Commerce, and it is not affiliated with the City of Globe. We are just using their vicinity. I want to thank everyone for making it out here. I'm going to go ahead and introduce who's here. I am Tiana Holder. I'm the Executive Director of the Globe Miami Regional Chamber of Commerce. We have Christy Cothran, our board president, who will be the moderator tonight. Mickey Nye will be the timekeeper. And then our Gila County Sheriff candidates are Ron Hansey, Adam Shepard, Darryl Stubbs, Richard Shaw, and Christopher Bender, sorry. Alrighty, I'm going to turn the time over to Christy so that we could get started. We're going to try to keep this to 90 minutes. So without further ado, Christy.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Great. Okay, just to go over the rules so everybody watching knows. There's an introduction. Each of you will introduce yourselves for 3 minutes. And every question you get 3 minutes to speak. You have to be very concise. It's not a debate. You all get the same questions. We'll start at one end for one question and start the other end for the next question, so it's all even and clear. After we ask 4 questions, if there's time, because everyone's been concise, and if you're over your time, I will call you out. So let's just keep it really simple. And Mickey Nye is the timekeeper, and he'll put up a purple sheet when it's about 30 seconds to give you a little timing, and then a red when it's time's up. Okay? At the very end, we'll have 3 minutes to kind of wrap up or anything that you wanted to say at the end. Okay, are we ready? We'll start with Ron. What do you perceive would be the biggest challenge facing the Gila County Sheriff Department, and how do you plan to overcome it?
Currently, perception is reality, and from what I'm understanding, the public has lost a lot of trust in the present administration and a lot of the employees as well. So I would get under the public and gather in groups, town hall meetings, meet with the citizens and gain their trust back, and do the same with the employees.
Okay. Mr. Shepard? Sheriff Shepard?
Okay. The biggest challenge, of course, I don't believe for a minute that we lost all that much trust in the community. One of the biggest challenges in running this agency, I can tell you, is just the sheer size of the county. We are talking about almost 150 miles from the southern tip of the county all the way to the northern tip of the county, and trying to cover that much ground just on basically about 3% of tax coverage in the county. The rest of it is, of course, managed and owned or owned by the government, is very, very difficult. So we have a lot of strategies in place to try to place people in the right places, but there's no way, and there's no way it's ever going to be possible with the size of the county to have somebody in every community or in every spot of the county. So that continues to be the challenge that we put forth. And of course, you do that with, as budgets shrink and the ability to hire people and keep people is a struggle because there's a lot of surrounding agencies that pay more, have better benefits and things like that. That is a struggle as well. So it's something that we're always out there in the community trying to recruit people specifically that want to serve this community in a very in a manner in which people can appreciate the fact that they're just not stopping by here long enough to get some experience and move on. We want to try to keep people that want to serve this community and want to stay here for a long time and raise a family like many of us have. And in the long run, that ends up being the best employees for us. It doesn't matter if it's the guys on the street, the folks in the jail, the folks in administration. Doesn't matter. When they are engaged and they are beholden to the community, they are much better apt to serve that community with a little bit more pride and responsibility than maybe they would in another situation. So that continues to be the challenge. We work on that challenge constantly, and we hope that that we continue to draw people in that really want to be here and really want to serve this community. Thank you.
Can you restate the question, please?
Absolutely. What do you perceive to be the biggest challenge facing the Gila County Sheriff Department, and how do you plan to overcome it?
Well, I really look at, I think one of the major problems is the mindset. Going to have to work on the mindset of the people that work at the Sheriff's Department to go out and do the things that we need them to do. And that's a big thing. And I think to correct that, it's going to come down to training. I'm going to have to do some more training and make all the people there more accountable for their actions and what they're doing. That's a big thing. They have to know that they're responsible and their actions, they're accountable. And that's a big thing because by not taking care of those things, that it's cost the county lots of money in lawsuits. So we have to change that and change the mindset. You know, as far as the size of the county, we're at like 4,758 square miles. Like the sheriff said, we're big. It's a large place. And we do need people there. So we need to rework how we plan things. And down in Hayden-Winkman, we used to have deputies that lived there and were stationed there. We had deputies that lived and were stationed in Tonto Basin. We had deputies that lived in Young, and we still do have a deputy there. We had somebody that was stationed in Pine. You know, those are things that were there before, and we need to bring them back again. So I think that it's important to look at overcoming, because we need to put out and have the troops on the ground out there to take care of business. And that's it. We need more deputies, they need more training, and we need them out there taking care of the crime. You know, we need to be more proactive instead of reactive. We need to go out there and fight crime and go in the neighborhoods and do those things instead of park out on the major highways to look for speeders when DPS is paid to do that. So our guys need to be back in the communities, back there serving the people that they're supposed to be taking care of. To me, that's important. I think they get back into being involved in the community and the people getting to know the officers. That also is going to make it a better deal. So overcoming things that are there, it's going to come to just start with the mindset of the guys that already work there and gals, and get everything set so that we can build a better agency or an office, sheriff's office, to help the citizens of Gila County. I believe that's what we have to do. We have to bring the trust back, because right now everybody I talk to, they're not happy. You know, when you have to wait 4 hours to get a deputy to show up to take a report, and the guy gets there and says, I can't do anything for you because it's your word against the bad guys, even though you wrote down what you saw him take and know who he is, and you're told there's nothing that can be done, the people are getting tired of it. So we have to change that too, that the people have the trust and everything back into the Sheriff's Department to see that that's a good thing to happen. Thank you.
Okay, Christopher Binder.
Oh, yes. Hello. I would have to go right along with reconnecting with the community and rebuilding that trust throughout the county. Candidate Stubbs and Candidate Hansey both touched on that, and apparently that is an issue, and it is, because it has been addressed to me and these other candidates. The trust for the county with the sheriff's office and the accountability of the sheriff's office has been lost. And that's one of my main goals, is to reconnect with the citizens of Gila County. And that's going to be a task, because like any situation, once trust is lost, it's kind of hard to rebuild that. So that's a very, very main focus of my administration will be to regain that trust of the citizens and make them feel safe and make them feel at ease when dealing with the sheriff's office, whether it's a deputy on the streets or going to the administration building to request a report, or unfortunately if they have to go to the detention center and visit a family member. Second, the next major issue that's I believe is going to be a major issue and is going to be changing the perspective of how people view the sheriff's office. And what I mean by this is once the accountability and the trust for the sheriff's office has been tarnished, everything else kind of just dwindles away. So it's almost like you have to rebuild the sheriff's up from the bottom up. And that goes hand in hand with changing the administration and holding my staff and the sheriff's office responsible. And that goes hand in hand with the accountability. When something happens within the community, whether it's good or bad, I think it needs to be addressed to the public immediately. And that goes right along with the accountability and the trust. Because once you bring those issues forward to the citizens, that starts to build that trust up with them, showing the citizens that you are willing to take that extra step to let them know things that should have been known. And you can see how passionate I am with that, because when it comes to this, I believe that the accountability and the trust for the citizens are paramount. Thank you.
Actually, your chair's right up there.
Madam Moderator, I have a question.
Yes.
I thought we were going to do a 3-minute introduction before we started the questions.
Oh, look at me, I jumped right ahead. Okay,
I just thought I would ask.
that's a good one. We can actually do that right now while we're waiting. So, Chris, why don't you, introduce yourself and your experiences?
Okay. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I am candidate Chris Bender. I would like to start off by saying I'm honored to be a candidate for the Gila County Sheriff. I will be available for any direct questions on my website, benderforsheriff.com, or my Facebook page, Bender for Sheriff. Let's start out with my family. We have lived in Arizona for over 50 years, and we have deep roots throughout the entire state. I am married to my wife, Carolyn, and we have a 1.5-year-old son, Isaac. We currently live in Miami and have plans to purchase some land and build a home in the near future. I have 5 generations of family that have served in the United States military, with myself proudly serving in the United States Air Force. I have dedicated my life to uniformed service, both military and law enforcement, with a combined experience of over 18 years. When it comes to experience, I started my career off in the United States Air Force as a military police officer, where I supervised patrol and security and protected the citizens of Dyess Air Force Base, along with protecting billions of dollars in military assets. From there, I served the state of Missouri as a deputy sheriff, worked for the San Carlos Apache Police Department as a patrol supervisor, and I currently work for the Miami Police Department as a patrol supervisor. I am running because Gila County deserves the best. I have the honor of working with deputies, detention, civilian staff at a time when the sheriff's office had a family environment with honor, pride, and trust. The sheriff's office has came to an all-time low and has lost the trust and the respect of the citizens. It is time for change. It is time for a new beginning. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard Shaw, can you introduce yourself and include your law enforcement experience? And
Yes.
everyone has 3 minutes to speak.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. My name is Richard Shaw. I'm a police officer currently for the town of Miami. I've been a police officer pretty much all my life, about 36 years worth, to tell you the truth. I started my military career at age 19 in the United States Marine Corps, serving as a 5811 military policeman. I exited in the Marine Corps in '82, started my career in civilian law enforcement with the Gila County Sheriff's Department, where I did detective work, I did dispatching, I did jailing for a while. I also have did a tour overseas as an advisor to the Iraqi police, working for the U.S. State Department under a company called DynCorp International, where I worked firsthand, slept with 8 whip patrol with both mounted and dismounted with the Iraqi police. So I know some adversities with the different types of people of that nature. I am currently married of 36 years to my wife, Sally, and we have 6 children altogether, 5 girls and 1 boy. You have to excuse my appearance this morning or this afternoon. I've had recent surgery, so I may be a little off kilter, and so I had to apologize for that. The reason I'm running for sheriff is not to degrade any incumbent or any other candidate here that is well known within the newspaper. I don't believe in trash talking anybody. I don't think it's proper. Newspapers do that, and so does the Inquirer. I'm not that person. I run on my own merits, not on somebody else's demerits. So that is the other reason I'm running is because I'm looking at my country, and I don't like the way it's running. The attacks on our civil rights have been violated or attempt to be violated on just about a daily basis, with our Second Amendment being the most prevalent, and on our First Amendment being the second. That's why I'm running.
Great, thank you very much. Ron Hansey.
Hello, I'm Ron Hansey. I'm running for sheriff of Gila County 2020. Lifelong constitutional conservative Republican. I'm asking for your guys' help. And I've spent my entire adult life serving the community. Served 5 years in the United States Marine Corps. Upon my honorable discharge from the Corps in '86, I began my professional law enforcement career with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. I spent over 26 years there. As a detention officer, I went in, retiring as a lieutenant, and I was also a reserve deputy with them. After retiring, I moved up here to Gila County. 10 days later, started working for the Gila County Sheriff's Office, and I was there for 5 years. Initially patrol, and then the last almost 4 years as a detective. I was injured on the job. 3 surgeries later, subsequently medically retired. But I don't feel I'm done serving, so I want to serve the community, I want to serve these citizens. And one of my main focus here is provide the employees and the citizens of Gila County an outstanding leader. They deserve it. I want to increase community policing countywide. I want to do more training for the deputy sheriffs and the detention officers, specifically sending the DOs to detention officer academies. We need to hire additional deputies for the road. I want to have a strong drug interdiction program, task force, basically. It was when I first got here, but it's kind of small now. Exceptional service, and with a common sense approach, every interaction with the citizen is an opportunity to enhance quality of life for that citizen, as well as those who visit our county. I want to offer leadership that fosters a spirit of knowing when to be firm and when to be compassionate. In order to provide the citizens or the residents of Gila County the quality law enforcement they deserve, there are 3 major priorities that are going to guide my decision-making. Community, integrity, and commitment. Regaining the trust of the public, which we serve, by being more accountable and more accessible to the citizens we serve, and be more responsive to their needs and their concerns. Increasing the amount of news releases and educational awareness programs. Provide the public and with the information in the current recent crimes in our county and ways for them to avoid them. I will also be cooperatively with the media, highlighting current and recent crimes being investigated, keeping them informed on programs and functions hosted by the Sheriff's Office. Keeping the deputies in our community, utilizing technology, upcoming solutions, providing increased protection and service to the county. I want to diligently work with state, federal grant programs to enhance the overall enforcement efforts for the Gila County Sheriff's Office. Thank you.
Thank you. And our incumbent candidate, Sheriff Shepard.
Well, good evening, everyone. I want to thank the Chamber for putting this on, and of course, the City of Globe for hosting it. My name is Adam Shepard. I have been the sheriff here for the past 2 terms, just finishing up the second one. My history in Gila County goes all the way back to before I was born. Our family had property up north in the Payson area. We moved up here permanently about 43 years ago, and I finished school up in Payson as well. I joined the sheriff's office in 1984. That was after serving a few years as a volunteer for the local Payson Police Department. Worked up through the ranks all the way to the last post that I held was the undersheriff just before my election the first time in 2012. During the time on the street, I served as a firearms instructor, an Arizona Post instructor, paramedic, 24 years as a paramedic, so I would be able to use those skills on the street. I was also a diver and a SAR coordinator for the office during that periods of time. I have my formal education is I did graduate with a certificate from Northwestern University in police management, and I also have a bachelor's degree in public service from NAU. The focus of our administration so far for these first couple of terms have really been to get the outreach going in the community for things that are going on in the sheriff's office, and that's why I get so puzzled when I hear that there's no trust, because we get a lot of positivity and a lot of kudos about that process. We have not only got updated and kind of professionalized our Facebook page a little bit, which I know a lot of people follow, but we also have a branded app on both that's available on both platforms as well. And that was something that we wanted to do was reach out to the community more and keep them informed much more than we felt that they had been in the past. I'm running again because there are some unfinished projects that we've got that I think would really benefit the community quite a bit. I think that there's some things in the mill. Of course, when you try to apply some kind of a new technology or a new idea to, say, for instance, a jail that's been around for many, many years, you have to work on getting the infrastructure up to the point where you'll even accept that. So there's a lot of challenges. We want to also increase the communications, and I want to see those projects through, and that's why I'm running. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Darryl Stubbs.
Hi, I'm Darryl Stubbs. I'm 59 years old, and I've lived here in Gila County for 50 years. I've lived in Globe, Payson, and Tonto Basin. I have 4 children. I have 8 wonderful grandchildren, and I've had 25 plus years in law enforcement. Throughout my law enforcement career, I've worked for Gila County Sheriff's Office, Miami PD, and Tonto Apache Tribe up in Payson. I've worked all over the county: Payson, Hayden, Winkleman, Young, Globe, Miami, Pine, Strawberry, Roosevelt, Christopher Creek, Star Valley, Tonto Basin, San Carlos Reservation, and the Tonto Apache Reservation. So I've worked all over the county. Some of my specialties included Narcotics Task Force, Lake Patrol, Dive Team. I was a DARE officer. I was a grade officer. That stands for Gang Resistance and Education and Training. I was also a school resource officer. I know that the youth in our county are our future. I believe in being involved in our communities, and here are some of the things that I've been involved in. I was in the student council when I was in high school and college. I was a cadet sergeant with the Civil Air Patrol, and as a young man I received the Bronze Medal of Valor, and when I did that, I was the first in Arizona to receive it and the 4th in the United States to receive that honor. I was a Boy Scout leader, a 4-H leader. I helped start the Tonto Basin Fire Department, and I worked with the fire department cadets. And I'm really glad to say that 2 of those cadets today are Payson firemen. I believe one of them's a captain. I coached Little League in Payson. I was a lieutenant with the Civil Air Patrol in Payson. I worked with the cadet squadron there and worked with the kids. I've been a member of the Elks Club in Globe and in Payson. I'm involved in the Friends of the NRA. I'm proud to be the vice president of the Payson Pro Rodeo Committee, the world's oldest continuous rodeo. I'm also a businessman. I own 3 small businesses, so I have some business background that goes with me. I believe in God, the Constitution, and the Second Amendment rights, and I will defend them. I plan to bring back the DARE program, the Reserve Deputy program, and create a Explorer program to engage our youth. Again, our youth are our future. My open door policy will not be a 9 to 5 in my office. I will meet with the citizens on their time, day or night, to listen to what they need and what they want as citizens. As I've said, I believe the youth of today are our future. I plan to bring back good leadership to the Gila County Sheriff's Office by bringing better example and more training for my deputies. I will also be seeking into the Gila County so the people have a better respect of the Sheriff's Department. So vote Darryl Stubbs for your sheriff if you want to see a change. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Some of the other questions you've kind of touched on, so it's a good, actually a nice segue to go into a little further explanation on a couple of things. So the second question is...
The first question didn't get asked of Mr. Shaw yet.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Shaw. What do you perceive to be the biggest challenge facing the Gila County Sheriff's Department, and how do you plan to overcome it?
I think the biggest problem right now would be the jail and its staff to investigate further. I'm not a Monday morning quarterbacker where I can read a newspaper and say, well, this happened or that happened, because I like to read the whole report to see what issues it may have had in the past or possibly in the future, and to correct those issues before they happen. Because the jail, if you're going to get sued, that's where it's going to come from most of the time.
Okay. Second question, and actually we'll start with you, Mr. Shaw, and we'll go back around the other way. The perception is, and it's been touched on before, that it takes longer and longer for a deputy to respond to a call, especially in rural areas. How do you plan to improve this service and reduce response times?
Reduction in response times has to do with the amount of public servants that you have on duty at the time, and the only way to get that is more officers. Excuse me, and that's the only way you're going to get around it. Is provide more services is to get more officers. In my opinion.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Bender?
I'll touch base with that as well. I agree 100% with that. It comes down to staffing. To correct that, you need to do and focus on staffing. And that goes multiple directions, where you have to build the morale to keep your staffing, to keep that retention of your employees. And then it goes to offering something that's different from other agencies. I worked with the Gila County Sheriff's Office between 2006 and 2013. And currently the deputies I work with at that time, barely any of them are there. And that just kind of raises some issues, thinking, why did some of these employees leave? And some of these employees are local. Graduated Miami High School, Globe High School, and they went to the adjacent counties. So that's the most major issue, is the retention and staffing. But at the same time, you need to focus your staff in those rural areas where you can offer different types of incentives. Like, for example, Young. I believe the current sheriff does have a resident deputy in Young, Arizona. And I believe he might be retiring here pretty soon. But I believe that if you can recruit in those more rural outskirt communities for local people, that would offer a little bit easier advantage to try to keep deputies in those areas, so then the response times are lessened. And that's basically it. Thank you.
That's good. Mr. Stubbs?
Well, I worked in Hayden Winkleman and they have no deputy there. I worked in Tonto Basin as the resident deputy. They have no resident deputy there. You know, we do need more deputies and more guys on the boots on the ground to get out there and get the job done. And you know, we have to have those people. We need to look at, like Chris said, giving some incentives. I know the gentleman that lives in Young is given a stipend to help because living in that rural area. And you know, we need to look back at that. And at one time there was 2 of us that lived in Tonto Basin. We had 2 that lived in Roosevelt. So when there was a call, you got called out in the middle of the night. The bars didn't call the sheriff's department, they called my house and said, we've got a fight going on, we need some help. Now the people in Tonto Basin are upset that it's taken 4 hours to get an officer to show up and respond. That's ludicrous. You know, we have to have officers in those areas. Yes, we need more officers total, but you can have a lot of officers, and if they're not placed strategically right, it doesn't help you. So we need the number of officers to take care of business. We need to put those resident deputies back in those spots to take care of the people. You know, some of these outlying areas, they pay taxes just like everybody else does. And for them to get told, well, we'll get there when we can, 4 hours later, or, you know, we'll come take a report tomorrow. It's not that bad, right? So we'll come tomorrow and take the report. I don't think that's what it came down to when you paid your taxes. You paid your taxes and you didn't go say, yeah, I really don't want to pay them, you know, so I'm not going to pay them. Well, that doesn't happen. You still got to pay the taxes. But we need the officers out there, you know, and there's ways to do that. We cut our administration, take some of that funding, put back where we need it. You know, we don't need so many people in the office. We need people out there on the ground doing a job. And that's the important part. The citizens are what it's about. Our job is to take care of them. That's what we're hired to do or elected to do. And that's important. You know, and we have this reactive thought of when there's crime, let's react to it. Well, how come we don't have any proactive? Let's work some of this beforehand and try and go after it. But we have to go back and look that we need to put the deputies in the places that they're needed. I know it was brought up in a meeting in Tonto Basin that it was said, well, the Board of Supervisors don't let us put deputies in those places anymore. And the supervisor was there and he corrected it real quick and said, no, we okay your budget, you put your people where you need them. And we need them out in those rural areas to take care of everybody. And that's the important part, is taking care of our citizens. That's what our job is. Thank you.
Sheriff Shepard?
Thank you. Yes, I think about the only thing I guess we can agree on probably is that it'd be nice to have a lot more positions. And, you know, the only thing that works as we go forward, because you're never going to have, I mean, if you count just north of the dam, not even the south side, you've got over 50 little separate communities that are out scattered throughout the county. The south is the same way. There are small communities that we have to respond to that are just scattered throughout a very large, as Mr. Stubbs said, over 4,700 square miles. So, of course, more deputies would be nice. Unfortunately, sometimes that's not a reality. You recruit everything that you can do, and you try to get people into the service. And of course, like I said, we prioritize people that are local and that want to be in the community. And you can only do what you can only do with what you've got. Now, so what you have to do with limited resources, no matter what you're doing, is you have to take the data that you've collected and you need to model that into finding out where is your hot spots in the county. Sometimes there will be long response times in certain places of the county because the officers are busy on other priority calls. I mean, obviously, a crime that is occurring that threatens somebody's life is much more of a priority than a burglary that was found out because somebody had come home a couple weeks after going to, being at their house. It happens a lot in our summer home communities. So obviously there are going to be long response times, but they're not long response times when it comes to somebody's life is in danger or for priority calls. So we take we take that data, we crunch it down, and we find out where is the best opportunity to put those officers to where they can hit the hot spots at the time and when they're needed. And then, of course, you know, then it does, they have to respond to the other areas of the county as well. So I've heard the administration thing for so long, and I wanted to cover that really quickly. Here's a problem with that. When you got clerks in administration, it takes, you know, at least 2 or 3 of their positions to come up to what just one deputy would cost. If you strip those people out of administration, unfortunately, they do work that is required by the state that the sheriff's office does. So if you strip them out of there and put them on the street, it's a great idea. We've thought about it a lot. The problem with it is that work still needs to be done, and now you have fewer people, and you're going to have people that cost you more money to do it. Thank you.
Ron Hanty?
Okay, well, we can all agree that we certainly need more deputies. Oftentimes, that's just simply not reality. You got to do what you can to recruit good folks, and train them well enough to stay, and train them well enough so they want to leave if they want to, but treat them well enough that they're going to stay here. But whether, you know, everybody's always short. Generally, graveyards is a lot shorter than most. When I was working here on graveyard, I'd come on duty around 6 p.m., and the swing shift guys, they went home at 10, so I was the only deputy on duty from 10 p.m. until 6 a.m., covering everything north from Roosevelt Lake Dam, everything north of northern Gila County. Well, the citizens didn't feel safe. I mean, a lot of them knew, well, I'm solo, the whole county, North Gila County. So I'd get a call in Strawberry, fight at a bar, whatever, and if I'm down here in Tano patrolling, then I got to drive all the way to Star Valley or Strawberry. That's a drive, and it happened. And then from there, I got another call kicked out off on Colcord Road, 216 Colcord North or East. That's a long drive, and there's no one else to help. I was by myself, but it's like that all the time. But you know, we all know we're short-staffed, but we need to try and get more people in. And I know Darryl touched on resident deputies, and that's a good idea, especially in the small communities like Strawberry and Pine. Have 1 or 2 up there, or maybe 1 in some of our outlying areas down here in Winkleman and Hayden, Miami. I mean, it all helps. I mean, another good thing to have is increase the posses. Posse guys, that's free labor. And if they're running around the community in marked patrol units, people think that, hey, there's another deputy on duty patrolling my neighborhood. I feel safe. But you got to increase that posse and reserve deputy program too. That's also free labor. But in the meantime, when you're so short-staffed, you got to take 1 or 2 guys off of one of the other squads and put them on nights so that you don't got one sole guy running the whole northern Gila County. It's ridiculous. So that's the ideas I think I would impose. Thank you.
Thank you. You've really all talked about the retention rate of deputies and attracting more deputies. That was one of our questions. I feel like we've kind of, each one of you touched on that a little bit, so we ought to punt a little bit here. So one of the questions that came from someone was, which I'll ask you, Mr. Hanty. We'll start back the other way. Because of a limited staff occasionally, and that's based on budgets and training and retention, which we've already talked about, how do we ensure public safety as we in businesses, you know, it's a chamber of commerce, where we serve businesses, how do we get that perception or the communication between the interagencies to ensure that we are with the tools that we have, that we are doing the best job we can? Does that make any sense at all?
No.
Okay.
Can you phrase that?
How do you feel the communication is between agencies when you only have one sheriff on and you have to depend?
From agency to agency? Mm-hmm. Well, it could be better. Okay. Some agencies just don't like to share, and that's ridiculous. I mean, in law enforcement specifically, you need to share everything. Like we should share with Miami PD, Globe PD, any highway patrol guys, the reservation police, we need to share all information. As far as our community, their business is being safe, is that, you say that?
Well, that's one of the questions when people are looking to move into, whether they have a business or they're just moving to a community, they're looking at public safety.
Well, instructed deputies, like what I used to do in Pine and Strawberry, for example, small towns, when I was working nights, I'd drive up there. It's only like a mile long or whatever. I'd just park my vehicle and get on, just start checking doors. And I found in about a year's time, I found 38 doors, businesses, unlocked, unsecured. So I had to go in there and clear them. And I just leave a business card there and say, hey, I was in your building. It was unsecure. If you find anything missing, give me a call. I only got 2 calls where somebody went in there and somebody ate some food, somebody stole some ice cream from the ice cream shop, and that was it. But if they know that you're doing that, they feel a lot safer. And again, if you have reserve deputies and posse members, they can do the same thing. They can park their patrol vehicles and get out and start rattling doors, making sure everything's secure. And if they're unsecure, give a deputy a call.
Sheriff Shepard?
Yes. Well, I'll kind of address the questions as to, number one, the agency share. Absolutely, there's no substitute for that, especially when everybody in the county, including all of the police departments and the tribes and the whole shoot match, have shortages and have struggles keeping up with their workload. Of course, we've tried to get into a better terms even with the tribes by getting some agreements with them and trying to get them on board because, of course, those of you that work with tribes know that the rules are a little bit different out there, and so you have to treat things a little bit differently than you would when you're off of the reservation. But I think it was touched on. I don't remember who said it, but well, I guess since Ron's the only one that's went, is that having that communication between the agencies to where if you are short and something is an emergency that needs to be dealt with, and they can help you out. And I think that throughout my career, throughout my years of being there, you see that kind of go up, and sometimes you see it go down. I think it's on an up right now. I think all of the agencies are at least sharing and talking to each other and getting together on a regular basis, and we are dealing with those types of things about trying to back each other up and trying to have a total public safety package in Gila County, not just one agency. Now, keeping people safe and trying to get the feeling of safety. This is one of our, I'd mentioned in my when I was introducing myself that we were working on a few pretty big projects. One of the golden projects that we've got on the table right now, and we're just trying to upgrade other systems to what'll start taking it. And that is our community mapping. We want to, if any of you have went in and used our the sex offender community map, it's going to be like that, but it's going to be for all crimes that are created in the neighborhood. So you'll be able to bring up your neighborhood, take a look at your surroundings and see what kind of criminal activity has been going on there. And of course that requires us, you don't have a big pot of money to do some of these ideas, so they take some years sometimes to put into effect. But I think that for people to feel safe and to be able to go to an open information platform that doesn't require them to ask us for information or anything else, and see the kind of things that are going on in their community in reality, not just guessing at it or not, somebody saying they're great or not, is going to be a really big tool for this county, and I think that it's really something that we want to accomplish in the next 4 years. Thanks.
Mr. Stubbs?
Well, I'm going to hit a couple things that's going to come to my final statement, but I'm going to work in the community to implement community policing, and I'm going to get the crime watches going, the block watch type thing set up, and because the people in Gila County need to feel safe where they live, where they work, and where they have their businesses. That's really something that's important to have there. I'm going to look to work with the different municipalities, like we said, the police departments here and the tribal law enforcement officials to try and develop, a cooperative plan to maximize our resources and develop a budget solution without compromising the quality of services that we're going to give to our citizens. You know, with all that said, is people got to know you're around. The problem is the bad guys got to know you're around. Okay? The good people always, you know, you have them around, but the bad guys are the ones that needs to know that you're out there, you're on the wall, you're taking guard, and you're going to do that. And I think it takes several things to go. You have to bring the trust of the people back to the sheriff's department. You have to work on these different groups and get them organized to do things, because let's utilize them. We can't be everywhere, but there are people everywhere. Give them some training on what's going on. You know, we need to go out there and be hard on criminals. You're messing up, you're going to jail. And people should know, you come to Gila County and you mess up, you go to jail. A lot of that's not put out there, because the criminal's like, well, you want to commit a crime? Let's go to Gila County. Why? Well, like we've all talked about, we're shorthanded. That's a thing. And the criminals know that. You know, it was really tough for me. I was there at the brush fire in Tonto Basin, and they put all the strings on all the houses if you're home or you're not home. A couple of the criminals I knew, I seen them around. They didn't leave. And it was just like, ooh, there's the right ribbon. Those folks are gone. They left. Candy for picking. The people in Gila County have to see officers out there. They have to see that. We have to get in there and make it known to the criminals that you break the law, you go to jail. That's what's going to make the people that come here feel safe. The new people that move here, they want to know that, like you said. They want to know that this is a good community. Our crime rate is terrible, you know, and we need to change that. And it's got to be a cooperative effort with all the agencies. The Narcotics Task Force needs to be back with every agency involved to do something about the crime. As we know, the drugs go back, and probably 3/4 of the crimes committed go back to some kind of drug-related offense. So, you know, that's what we need to do, and that's what I would do. So thank you.
Thank you. Christopher Binder.
Okay, to get focused more back on the question, Christy, I believe that the communication between all the police departments is highly lacking. And that's a major issue, because when it comes from community to community, whether it's Globe, Miami, or Payson, Star Valley, relaying that information from one agency to the other is very crucial. Burglaries or crimes that are associated or happening in Globe could ultimately have occurred or started in Miami. And if the communication between both those agencies are lacking, it's going to make it difficult to try to correct those type of crimes. And I believe in order to correct that, you have to have somebody to lead the way when it comes to trying to bridge that communication gap between the departments. And like Ron said, for some reason in the law enforcement world, it's like the agencies want to keep their stuff from each other. And I don't know why, but that's not gonna solve everything that needs to be solved. So that's a big plan of mine, is to actually establish, I guess you could call it like a law and order meeting within all of the communities that have police agencies. And I believe to have those meetings is where you'll have discussions on, hey, what type of burglaries do you have? Or what type of crimes are happening in your jurisdiction? Be open, and because right now no one is making that attempt to go and just go to, like for example, the sheriff, Shepard, go to Payson PD, the chief of police, and say, hey, let's get this going. Let's start this. Let's be the first to start this program. And then maybe that will influence the whole nation, where it becomes a little thing that started in Gila County and becomes a nationwide thing. And that goes hand in hand with bridging the gap with the reservation, because we deal a lot with the reservation, on and off. And I believe that if you go out there, make that connection with those different agencies, their head of staff, I think they'll be on board. And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take that initiative to start programs like that to make true change with the sheriff's office.
Thank you. Richard Shaw?
Thank you. Short of sounding redundant, it sounds actually pretty good when you're talking about contacting other agencies. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to talk to one agency or the other. I think the main focus would be, as far as that going, would be actually training. I think Mr. Bender already talked about contacting others within this community, or was it Mr. Stubbs? I can't remember for sure. But our children are our future. They're our presidents, our governors, our senators, our mayors and speakers and police officers. That's where it begins. If you can stop the crime from becoming a crime, then you're way ahead of the game. By playing catch up, trying to catch the criminal after the crime is being committed is a little more difficult. So I've got 5 instructor certificates under my belt as of today. And as an instructor, I can tell you, if you want to prevent something, you got to teach. And teaching others, specifically our young, and reaching out to our elderly as well, doing what they can and are able or can be able to do, and what they're not able to do is very beneficial.
Thank you. I'm going to stick with you because we'll go back around, and the final thing is, why do you feel you're the best candidate for a Gila County Sheriff?
Real plain and real simple. I'll keep it short. I'm not a politician here. I'm a lawman. Period. That's all I am as a lawman. You don't like me in 4 years, fire me, because I don't care. I don't. That's my statement.
Thank you. Christopher Bender? What makes you the best candidate?
When it comes to this, I believe the most important thing that sets me apart from the other candidates is I am running for the citizens of Gila County first. I want to see the sheriff's office thrive and be considered one of the best law enforcement agencies in the state. I believe with my experience, my dedication, my compassion, the courage to do this, the contacts that I've made throughout my career, being in the military, certified police officer in 2 states. I have federal certification from the San Carlos Apache tribe. With all that experience, I believe that I have a lot to offer, as well as ideas, new ideas, fresh ideas, ideas that I would love to implement. And also I have the ability to be humbled when I don't know what's going on or I don't have the answer for it. I'm willing to seek out counsel with either my staff or other agencies. And that goes along with being able to reach out to the public. I'm a people person. I can talk and connect well with people. And the sheriff, that's an elected position. And the people elect him. And I believe that connection, you need to be personable. You need to be able to go and meet with those citizens outside of work. And what I mean by that is you're in the community. So while you're there, be personable and forward and initiate contact with people. And I believe just my overall experience and dedication to take this opportunity and take this chance to have the opportunity to be elected is why I believe that I am the best choice for your Gila County Sheriff.
Thank you. Mr. Stubbs?
Well, why I'm the best candidate. I believe in defending the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution in Arizona, especially the Second Amendment. I have the fortitude and the backbone and the voice to go on these positions and points and to all levels of the government and talk to the public. My open door policy, I believe, is the best thing going. Get people in to see me. They need to get to know me. If they have a complaint, I'm there to hear what they have to say and get their feedback. I'm personally involved in the communities, here there in Payson and Tonto Basin and Globe. The Sheriff's Office is a community service, and therefore I need to work on my employees doing the same thing. They need to be involved in their communities. They need to let people meet them. And I'm going to make it mandatory that my supervisors go be part of the community and belong to different things and go to meetings that are going on so the people see them. I'm also going to be a really good steward with your tax dollars. That's important right now. We have all the lawsuits and everything going on right now, and lots of money that could be going out that we need to keep. I also am going to look for other monies to come in to enhance the Sheriff's Department so we can have those other deputies and do that. But the bottom line is everybody that knows me, I'm a people person. And I think the sheriff needs to be that. The people need to see the sheriff out in the community. They need to talk with him. They need to rub elbows with him. And they need to be there. When there's different disasters that we have or whatever, the sheriff needs to be there. And the people know when there's something happens that he's there and they see him and build that with our community. I was out there at the brush fire, like I said, for 9 days. People saw me every day doing something out there. That's what the sheriff needs to be. People need to see that. They had the drowning out there about the kids, and, a tragic event. I got to be there one night. But as the sheriff, should have been there the whole time. We got a command trailer. It should have been there so it could be utilized. But the biggest part of that is so the community sees that the Sheriff's Department is out there being involved and actively involved. So, those are the things that I'm going to look at to get my people to do. Those are the changes I'm going to make. I want people to know who the sheriff is. I want them to know that they can count on their deputies out there. When there's an incident, like I said, an emergency, I want them to know that we're there. That's why I'm the best candidate. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to take care of the people in this county. And if they have a problem with it, I want them to let me know so I can correct it. All right? Thank you.
Sheriff Shepard?
Yes, and I kind of go back to the things that that motivated me in the first place back in 2012 to run. And so I'll kind of start off on that note. Being in the office for as long as I have, I knew at that time, and of course have been working on it, what was working real well in the office. The office was not completely broken. It just needed some attention to some areas. One of the things being, of course, is modernizing it and professionalizing it some. So that's, I knew that was really, leave the stuff alone that's working good and continue to let that work well, but work on the stuff that's not. I think, I don't know, Darryl, might be the first time we've ever agreed, because last time I heard you talk, I'm not sure that's what you said, about the drug-related incidences. And I can help out. I can't remember who said about where did the drug task force go. I'll tell you where it went. The funding for it dried up, just like a lot of other things. Where it once had 7 people that it supplied and vehicles and a place to work out of and all that stuff has dried up to just a couple of officers. So. And it is true that there are. You look at the studies, you look at the numbers. Somewhere between, depending on how they measure it, 35 to 80% of the crimes that are committed in the community are drug related in some way. It's somebody trying to get more drugs, or it's a crime that's committed because somebody is on some. So that's been something that we put as much resources as we can into, of course, and it's something I've preached from day one. Another thing that's completely dried up and gone away is school resource officers, but we still keep resource officers in the 5 county schools. Not one every day, but we have them. We have what we can, pull them out of patrol and rotate them. Of course, it hasn't been lately because there hasn't been any school, but and we have to wait for that to get back in there. So I emphasize these programs that do help the community, that do reduce crime, and that we're targeting the things, and I will continue to do that. If you put me in office again, we'll have those same priorities as we go forward, because that's what really it comes down to, is trying to control what's going on out there in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Ron Hantz.
Well, I think these guys have all said it all. If you want to be the sheriff, you got to be a people person first off. And if you're going to run for office, specifically being a sheriff, you need to be able to be accessible to the public at any time. Day or night, it doesn't matter. It's not an easy task being the sheriff. You're always getting pulled in 9 different directions at the same time, and you got to be there, you got to be here. But, you delegate to some of your folks so you can go to the public meetings. Like I mentioned earlier about neighborhood watches, they're generally held in a person's home. Go to those. You got to be there. You got to be accessible for the public. And Adam was saying most crimes, or almost virtually all crimes, are committed as a result of have some involvement with drugs, methamphetamine, heroin, cocaine, doesn't matter, and that's true. And task force is real small now, and some of the funding was released. But you know what? There are a lot of federal grants that you can get, seek, ask for, and they generally grant them. Sometimes, not all the time, but they can, and get some of that funding back to re-increase the task force, get more folks on from other agencies as well, not just the sheriff's office. You need officers from every agency that has a police department in this county on that task force, because they know their specific areas, where the high crime rates are in those areas, and that's where a lot of that sharing information is going to come from, especially on the task force. Those guys are like one little unit. So you got guys from all agencies, all different agencies, and that's their main goal, is to share information and get drugs off the road and off the street. So those are some things I'll do if you like me, Sheriff. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's actually the conclusion. I want to thank all of you for coming. It's very impressive, the amount of experience that is on this stage today. And we always encourage everyone, primary elections are just as important as general elections to the county, and we certainly encourage everyone to vote. Thank you so much.
Are we going to do a 3-minute closing?
That was kind of your, oh, I am off today.
I thought it was on the agenda, at least that's the one I was given.
It was. There you go. I get so focused on the questions. You guys did really nice summations, though. So, Ron Hansey, would you like to go? Do you have any summations that you would like to do? Something that you've left out that you'd like to say?
Yeah, something I left out when I was in my intro. Back to integrity, I want to combine sound fiscal employment along with updated training and policy and procedures, transparency, fairness, and accountability across the board. I want to increase the level of protection and the service to the citizens of Gila County through innovative policing, collaboration, and efficiency. I want to receive state accreditation for all segments of the Sheriff's Office, implemented and updated policies in accordance with state and national enforcement standards. I want to keep the deputies in the communities and on the roadways utilizing technology and common sense solutions, providing increased protection and service to our county and its citizens, as well as the general public that comes to visit our county. Recruiting, retaining, and promoting men and women who possess the diverse skills, training, and insight that will assist in making Gila County a safer and better place to live, work, and visit. Train our staff well enough so they can move on if they choose to, but create an environment where turnover is very low and where you treat them well enough they want to stay. Raise their family here, just live life here. work closely with all segments of criminal justice system to reduce victimization and improve the quality of life for all residents and those who choose to visit. I want to use data-driven decision-making to prioritize service, resources, and staffing to meet and exceed the needs of our community. I want to diligently seek state and federal grant programs to enhance the overall enforcement efforts in the Gila County Sheriff's Office and the tax burden, and relieve the tax burden on the county. One of the guys I'm bringing in if I get elected sheriff is Richie Burden. He's a retired deputy captain from Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. That guy has done it all and seen it all. He started working in the sheriff's office about a year after I did. We were both in detention. I stayed in detention, and he went on the road, became a deputy, and he retired as a captain. When I was a reserve deputy, he was a district commander, and I worked for him. And he's a great cop. I mean, he's a great cop, and he taught me what I needed to know to be a good cop. And you know, he always said, "Smile every day, treat people fairly, and they'll treat you fairly," and it works. Thank you.
Sheriff Shepard?
Yeah, of course, I went over a little bit about, where we've brought the agency to. I can give you a perfect example. There was no standardized equipment, and officers didn't even get their uniforms when we started in our administration. These are the types of things that we've worked on since we've been there. Bringing in legal-based policies and legal-based training. The same company provides that to us now. And now the officers can go online when they're working, or if they're assigned to it, and they can actually get their training up to speed for the entire year in a very short period of time. Training's difficult, especially with COVID going on, and it just happened to be fortuitous that we had that system in place because we haven't gotten behind on those things as we've went along. As I said, putting as much effort into the drug enforcement as we can, our school resources. We will continue to improve our outreach methods and availability for people to contact the office without having to come in, because that's really the way we're going. And again, that's really helpful in times of things like COVID. We've even worked really hard, and something that's been difficult, but we've worked with the judges and other people in the county to deal with mental health in our jails. We have an issue in there for a lot of years, and it's just not us. The criminal justice system kind of is a pass-through for folks with mental health issues, but we need to continue to work on getting those folks not incarcerated, but getting them some help that they need. We've contracted, and we worked with the county to contract one of our local entities, as many of you know, CBI, to actually be in our jail. So they're the ones that are evaluating our prisoners. They're the ones that are making sure that they are in a place where this is at least doing them some good, or getting them to the place that they are. Like I said, I talked a little bit about what we're working on for the future. There's a lot of projects that we're in the middle of, that we're working the groundwork for, and that will also be quite helpful for the citizens without, again, having to come down to the office and get information. You can get it right at your fingertips. And that's what we're going to continue to work on, as well as improving the rest of the office as we have all along. And if I can be your sheriff for another 4 years, that's what I'll be working on. 595-2860, voteadamshepard.com, or on Facebook. Thank you.
Darryl Stubbs.
Well, I'm going to make the fight against illegal drug trafficking a top priority with the Gila County Sheriff's Department, and that's going to do with training. I'm going to build a sheriff's office based on fairness, integrity, to ensure the public's trust back in the Sheriff's Department. I'm going to work with the communities and implement community policing, crime watches to affect all the communities, to make them safe places to live, work, and have your business. I will work with the schools and the youth enrichment organization to provide mentorship, guidance, and support the youth in our county. Like I said, the youth is our future. I will work with the municipalities, the tribal law enforcement, to maximize our resources and develop a budget without compromising quality service to the citizens of Gila County. I will bring a high standard of professionalism to the Gila County Sheriff's Office by using advanced training and leadership skills for my staff. I will be a good steward with your tax dollars. I will work cohesively with all the departments within Gila County. I will seek alternative funding by the states, federal grants, and other programs. I will take a proactive approach to fighting crime instead of the reactive approach that we now have at the Sheriff's Department. You folks, you need a sheriff that will go out to disasters and will show up and be there and be a part of what's going on. You know, like I said, the brush fire, I was there for 9 days in Tonto Basin, and I didn't see the current sheriff there one time.
9 days.
I was there all 9 days and I didn't see him one time.
Look,
Had the drowning in Tonto Basin. I was there one night, but I had several people that have come and talked to me about, they were upset that our sheriff wasn't there, and also some people from other agencies were upset about that. You know, where was our command trailer? We have a great big command trailer that could be utilized in both of those cases. Wasn't there. If you want a sheriff to be there for you, then you must vote for me, Darryl Stubbs, for sheriff. Bringing back leadership. You know, God bless America. Thank you for your vote. But we got to change things. We have to take, if you want something different, you can't elect the same person and expect a different outcome. And as we talk about lots of things that need to be changed, our current sheriff's been there 8 years. At the end of this, if he hasn't changed it by now, what's to make think he's going to later? You know, so if you want to change, vote for me, Darryl Stubbs, for your sheriff. Thank you.
Thank you. Christopher Bender.
Okay. Let me start off by thanking everyone for listening. I want to touch base on this again because I want to set the example, and I truly want this to happen. And that's why, again, these sentences here set me apart from everybody else. I want the Sheriff's Office to thrive and be the best law enforcement agency in the state. I want a new beginning. We need a new beginning. We need change within the county. Like Candidate Stubbs said, you can't expect a different outcome with the current sheriff. If he hasn't done it in 8 years, it's not going to happen. With that said, I'm asking for your vote, be it Democrat, Republican, or Independent, because my platform is the office of the Gila County Sheriff. The office of the sheriff is strictly set to enforce the United States Constitution, maintain a jail, civil service, and law enforcement needs within the county. All or any other political views will not be a concern of mine, because I believe the sheriff needs to remain solely focused on the duties of his office. I would like to include that I will be focusing on enhancing school safety, a stronger and more capable drug task force. I will build trust and community partnership with the people whom we serve. I will host community roundtables, receive input, and hear the needs of the citizens. I will leverage new and improved technologies, making it easier for our residents to engage with their sheriff's office. I will be a working sheriff, active in our community, side by side with my deputies, to rebuild the relationship with the citizens and the sheriff's office. I want full transparency and accountability with my administration. I have the courage, resolution, and the backbone to make these issues done and handled. I will never keep anything in the dark from the citizens. Thank you. And remember, when it comes time to cast your vote for Gila County Sheriff, vote Bender for sheriff.
Thank you. Richard Shaw.
Thank you very much. A lot of conversation been I've heard around the table here is about training. I'm a trainer myself. 5 different instructor certificates. I've already touched upon the base that our community, as far as our younger folks go, need that inter communication between the law enforcement and training to bring them up, because those are our future. And I will have to disagree with Mr. Shepard, or Sheriff Shepard, I'm sorry, current Sheriff Shepard, on I really don't like these technologies as far as the video training that we do nowadays. When I first started law enforcement, we actually had gone out of town. We had meet other officers from different agencies and developed relationships. And with those relationships came information, and information was valuable. And those techniques and technologies have gone away to more, I would say, cheaper educational, or education specifically. As far as my standard goes, my chief deputy, who I would like to hire, is already stationed in Payson. And he is absolutely, positively, 100% law enforcement. He is a weapon to be feared when it comes to criminal activity, and I trust him. So, like I said before, I'm not a politician. I'm a lawman. You want politics? Go someplace else. Not here. I have a communication with it. I like to build up a little bit of communication between the citizens which I serve, and I have done that, and I've done it the last 36 years. So, I would appreciate the vote. Richard Shaw for sheriff.
Thank you. Okay. Now we've hit the agenda. Thank you, Mr. Stubbs, for keeping me on track. That's awesome. Thank you very much. And again, everyone, please go vote.
Thank you, Christine.
Have a good day. Be careful going home.
Yeah.